I'm Jamie Wozni. Hi. I am a seer, which is another word for a psychic, and a priestess of God, a bringer of light. And I love to serve people. I wrote down a different phrase, so I want to try this on for size. Magical beings who are ready to be seen in their own unique flavor of divinity, and which is also their authentic truth, and then serve them in expressing that into the world through a variety of ways, because we all have different storefronts. And we grow up in this innocently masculine dominated way, which masculine energy is neither bad nor good, but anything way out of balance is taxing on the system. So we grow up thinking, figuring things out, analyzing, structure, doing. And we forget this beautiful, important part of us, which is what we're going to talk about today, of the heart, of the sacral chakra, which is your pleasure, your creation. It's where all of our reproductive organs are. Passion, desire, creativity. And it's interesting, I was talking to a really beautiful soul this week who's a lot younger and in a more masculine imbalance. And this person was saying to me, they didn't really understand the place for desire in their life or pleasure in their life, or, well, what's the point? What are you talking about? This frequency energy stuff. Like it doesn't, that's woo woo or impractical, or it's not actually going to help me get a job. And that is hard on my heart because I see the science behind it. I see that we are atoms in a quantum field, and that we are frequency, and that we are energy. And that when we are in a frequency, give me 1 second. My love, I think you're on the call. Can you shut the window for me? There's somebody that just came that's doing something very loud, and maybe he can come shut this so that it's not too distracting. Oh, there he is, Ryan to the rescue. Thank you. Would you mind just closing that for me? Thanks, love. That if we tune into a certain frequency, we tune into what brings us pleasure. And we're going to talk about that tonight. What brings us pleasure? How can we tap into our desire? How can we tap into our joy? Then guess what happens? We align with that frequency in the external world. Law of attraction, like attracts like. And if we want to look at it, I can even boil it down to practicality. If we want to look at it on a practical level, if I'm embodying joy, if I'm embodying desire, if I'm embodying pleasure, aren't I going to be just more fun to be around? You're like, that girl's having a good time. And something feels nice about her. Something feels light about her. And more people will want to hire you. More people will want to be around you. So if we look at the common sense of it, we're like, oh, that makes sense. That's not too crazy. It's not too wild. So tonight, I'm just going to read this from the explanation, but what I would love for us to explore and sit with here is this experiment. And we can do it for tonight, we can do it for a week, we can do it for a month, of what happens when we let go of living from should and have to, and this would be the best idea, and I'm supposed to, and I would be rude if I didn't do that. All of the thoughts, all of the external masculine energy. And we open up to this experiment of, well, what would happen if I followed pleasure? I followed joy. I followed this portal within me called inspiration. Because what I've been seeing is that feeling of inspiration, and I've heard my teachers talk about this for years, but I don't think it really clicked until recently, is that feeling of inspiration is I see it as like a phone line to the divine. to your higher self, to God, to your angels, to whatever you want to call it. It speaks to us, it speaks to you in that lightness, in that joy, in that, oh, that would be a cool idea. Dr. Kim Duramo, one of my mentors, always says, you can, well, I don't know the first phrase here, but you can change your life, you can create your life. You can either live from inspiration or desperation. Desperation is when we get ourselves into the shitter in a relationship, financially, and our health. And then we're like, this willpower is going to come because I'm desperate now. Where we listen to those tiny whispers. And I am really fascinated with money recently, studying millionaires who make money through joy, through soul aligned purpose. And all of them speak of the same portal. It's when you're sitting in the bathtub or you're driving in the car and you're like, that would be cool. Now, I work with people one-on-one every day. And that idea of inspiration that just pops through, like I hear them come to me and we speak and they're like, oh, but, and it's overridden so fast by what you're supposed to do, by what you have to do. And I'm wondering if we could open up to a collective possibility that this is actually practical. That when we follow inspiration, when we follow desire, when we follow joy, when we follow pleasure, we don't get, for lack of a better word here, we don't get stupid. We don't get dumb. We don't lose our boundaries. We don't become unintelligent. This is what it means to come back into balance with masculine and feminine. The masculine structure still holds us, still says, keeps our life together, right? Tells us the practicalities of things when it's needed. But here's the confusing part. We can get by in survival. We can make money. We can have okay relationships. We can have a decent life. And I remember hearing this and it changed everything for me. Someone said to me, yeah, but is that true freedom? Because our brain will look to safety and say, well, this is the way I've been doing things. I haven't been living from inspiration and I have enough money and I have enough in my relationships and I have a great place to live or whatever it is. And I say, do you have the courage to say, is that true abundance? Is that true freedom? And if not, can we test it out? Can we start to, which we're going to do now, look at maybe what are some fears in the way of why I may be afraid to live that way? Okay, so let's look. So let's do it first before we go, and we're going to do a little bit of grounding together. And I'm just going to invite us to move into the energy of slowing down, whatever that means for you. Welcoming in spaciousness, because when we're in our mind, that creativity, that channel, we don't hear it as much when we're in survival mode. So we're just going to look around our place. This is called orienting, and it's a way to calm the mind and body. And I want you to really see your surroundings just for a moment. We're going to take some things in. It can seem really simple, but it's profound. And just look to see if you can see something you haven't seen before. Good. And now, this is going to be subtle. I'm using words to me that are similar. So today, in this exercise, instead of the word desire, I'm just going to use the word pleasure for a moment. Can you notice something in your environment that's pleasurable? This could be subtle pleasure. I like the way this fabric feels. I like the way my hand feels on my heart. That feels nice. I like the look of my new plant. And I want you to not only notice it on a thinking level, but notice when I notice this thing that's pleasing to me in my environment, how does that feel in my body? Okay? So let's look something that pleases you. And I want you to sit with that thing that pleases you. Take it in. And then notice what it feels like in your body when you notice that it pleases you. And you can even maybe say it out loud. This could be subtle, right? So for me, I'm looking at a candle I got for my birthday a couple years ago. And see, when I notice it, my body took a deep breath. When I notice it, there's a warm feeling across my chest. So you have to get real attuned to this. What do you notice in your body when you notice pleasure around you? Could be an animal in the room. My belly when I notice hops. And could you just slow down and sit with that a minute and let that register? Let me know how that was in the chat for you. Could you feel it? Was it challenging? Were you surprised? Did you notice a subtle shift? Yeah, that's one that I notice a lot. That's gorgeous. Active sacral chakra relaxes. So for those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's your belly. Gentle warmth and wiggly. Gorgeous. Yep. So this is a science-based practice. And our minds are so used to being in the same patterns, again, because we are raised in this masculine way, thinking, analyzing, escaping, whatever it is that we're doing, that we aren't even attuned to pleasure. And pleasure and desire and inspiration can heal the body. So it takes a minute for our brain to kind of notice, oh, interesting, when I slow down for a minute and I look at this thing, I take a breath, or there's wiggly and warmth, or my belly relaxes. It took me a second to tune in, but I sat up straighter, dropped my shoulders once, exactly gorgeous. Paid attention to the smell of my candle. There you go. That's the fight or flight leaving and the body relaxing. This is a feminine secret. For no matter your gender, feminine energy is pleasure, is inspiration, is desire. It's this portal of the body and the magic that it contains. And just the simple practice of taking moments throughout our day to notice something, oh, that's nice. And then notice what happened in the body when we notice something pleasing. Instant stress relief. pretty potent stuff, but all the bullshit around it that says it's wrong to be sensual, it's too sexual to love pleasure, whatever it is, that our mind makes a connection just even to the word pleasure and desire in a completely non-sexual context can trigger us. Notice if that even comes up for you when you even hear those words, pleasure and desire. Pleasure is like, I enjoyed that. Desire is like, ooh, I want that. Ooh, just, you know? And inspiration is the phone line to create more pleasure and desire. Good. So I invite you through this next 25 minutes together. Notice things around you that feel good. And how does that feel in the body? Good. Okay. So let's do a little bit of journaling for you to get clear on what are some of your, and just the ones that are kind of repetitive. What are some of your have tos and shoulds? So I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to put some music on. This can be in any area of your life. This can be family, self, business, general. I have to be this way in life. I can't be this way. Things that aren't inspiration led, things that aren't desire led, of like, ooh, I want that. Ooh, I want that cake. Oh, I shouldn't have that cake. Ooh, I want to go to a nail salon in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. Oh, I can't. I need to work. It's this constant, right? Divinity. Holy hell. Inspiration, pleasure, and desire are sacred. And it's like it leads us, and then we go, no, 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 I can't. It leads us, no, 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 I can't. So with compassion, what is that for you? I'm going to give you a minute to explore in your journal. What are some of my shoulds or have tos in life? Where do I hear myself saying that? What did I do today where guilt arose? And then we'll talk. Put some music on for you. And if you have any questions about it, just pop it in the chat.
Gives me joy. Flowers in my life make me happy. Flowers in my life give me joy. Wonder why walking through flowers it makes me high, floating through air like a blue butterfly, giving my mind.
Okay, beautiful. So You don't have to share, but I would absolutely love to know if, I mean, maybe something surprised you that came up. What are some of your shoulds and have tos that are blocking this natural um, following of desire and pleasure and inspiration in your life to actually call in good things? So I'll just give you guys a minute in the chat if you want to write anything in and share, and we can talk. And this will be cool because we're going to move past this. You're not going to get stuck here. Ah, that's a good one. Very simple. I should call my mom and check in. Yep. These are good, you guys. Yeah. Household things and kid related tasks. Totally. Should be taking classes to further my career. Yeah, that's a good one. Should eat leftovers. Oh, Danny, I have that one. Should eat leftovers instead of takeout. Oh God, my boyfriend can write in the chat about that. That, yeah, you're not alone. Should stay at work since I'm the owner. Yeah. Yep. Well, look, see, so we're not alone in our shoulds and have tos. And all you have to do in this, and thank you all for being vulnerable and sharing, it means the world to me. I show this image a lot of polarity. The masculine, like, responsibility, because look, I'm not going to come in here and say we're whimsical and we can throw away our responsibilities in life. Yes, especially if there's children and things that need to be shown up for. But what I'm going to invite you into is could we change the ratio a bit? And in addition to our let's get rid of shoulds and have tos, what needs to be cared for in the moment? Let's call it that instead, because sometimes things need to be cared for in the moment. What needs to be done in the moment for my highest good? Can we make a massive space? A massive space for inspiration and desire and pleasure too. So all you have to do is answer yes if you'd like to step into that energetic. Yeah. And so what's going to happen now is an opportunity. This is how the universe works. Will present itself to you where you'll be sitting and you'll get this idea and you'll get this desire. And at first, you're just going to start to notice it and say, oh, interesting. Because this is what we say. Well, I don't know if this is the word, but I'm calling it sovereign safety in the moment. Is at least like this stuff's been so shut off in us that at first we just notice that it's there, that there is this portal of desire and inspiration that speaks to us from our belly of like, oh, I want takeout, or oh, I want some time off from studying, or you know what, let me budget for somebody to come clean the house, or like something, or maybe let me do a trade and do some healing work for somebody who cleans and will, whatever it might be, you know, or set a boundary and say, hey, I only call and check in this one day a week, but I love you to pieces. So just take a deep breath. And can we be open to the possibility that when we're in our desire, when we're in our pleasure, when we're in our inspiration, it's a win-win for everyone around us. I remember doing a healing session myself years ago, one of my psychic teachers, and off the cuff, I think like I was leaving the call. It wasn't even in the healing. And I said, okay, well, this was a long time ago. I was like, I got to go plan what I'm going to teach tonight. And she stopped me and she said, what do you want to teach tonight? Like, what would bring you joy? Not like what you think the students should, like how you could be helpful. And I was like, oh, I can do that. She's like, yeah, it's frequency. When I'm lit up and I'm excited and I'm talking about a topic that inspires me, you're going to feel it too. That's also an incredible example of like proof of this. There's a woman, I think she's in her 80s now. Her name's Elsie Spittle. And she was a student of one of my first, you could call him a guru, Sydney Banks. He had an enlightenment experience. And she would share his teachings and she would tell her students about teaching his teachings. And they were like, "Oh, Elsie, we always feel great after we leave your classes." And she said, "Honey, I could be talking about high heels for an hour and you would feel the same, because it was the energy that she was in. The words that were coming from her joy or her inspiration, she was plugged into that divine portal, that divinity within her. And there were words and movements and ideas that come from that place. But when we're disconnected to the life-giving, abundant giving realization portal of that within us, we're living from the limited capacity of the mind that's trying to figure it all out with the shoulds and living in its small world of what it thinks is safe. So how do we break out of that? Notice desire this week. Notice the, oh, that would be cool if I. Notice the joy. Notice the, I want to create this, the inspiration to, I want sushi. Just notice it. And then how we retrain our nervous system is when I feel safe enough to go in that direction, can I begin to show my brain proof that not only is it safe, I'm actually better off in that direction on all levels. More money comes to me when I'm doing things that bring me joy. More support comes to me. More provision comes to me. We're not saying I'm going to be in pleasure and joy and inspiration and irresponsible. I'm going to be in pleasure and inspiration and joy and lazy. We're saying I'm coming back into balance and I'm seeing what happens when I create a life from how it was always meant to be. And do I have the courage to do that, right? So I wrote down a gazillion things, but for time, I'm going to pick one of these exercises. There's so much here that we could do. But again, you're doing a great job already. It's that awareness that this is a possibility, and this is that's coming up in the way. And every time that comes up, which let's do this right now, whatever your was that you wrote in the chat, it's just to say to our little kid inside, little inner child, it makes sense you feel that way. It makes sense you think you should stay at work since you're the owner. It makes sense you feel that way. You're right to feel that way. Meaning, given the programs of everything you grew up in, the way your cells are vibrating, the environment you're in, of course you would feel that way. So it's valid. Doesn't mean we're going to be stuck there if we accept ourselves as we are. So just be with that little bean for a minute. You're right. It makes sense that you feel that way. It's okay. It's welcome here. It's okay that you're scared or ashamed. You're right to feel that way. Meaning it makes sense. This is how those energies dissolve over time when we meet them with love. So as they come up, we meet them, they release over time when we love them. when we say it's okay, it makes sense. And then we begin to retrain our nervous system, which is what we're going to do now, to feel safe living that way. So we did a beautiful, simple practice in the beginning. Another one that I'm going to share with you tonight is safe self-touch. So we're going to slow down. And I'm going to do one with you. You're going to put your one hand under your pit. Some of you may have seen these from me before. One hand over your shoulder. This is called a ventral hug. We're just going to hold our hands here for a minute. Now, the medicine is in the noticing. Okay? What do I mean by that? The hand underneath your arm is you hugging you. So you're being hugged. That's that feeling. This is you supporting yourself. So the hand under the arm is receiving the hug. The hand on top is giving the hug. So this is, I'm loving you and I'm here for you. And this is underneath, I feel safe. I'm being held by myself. Sends that signal to the brain. So I just want you to take a deep breath. And like we did in the beginning, and if you got here late, just notice, what does it feel like to be held by you? The pleasure of being held by you. What does that feel like in the body? And now notice, what does it feel like to hold you? So bringing the awareness to the outside arm that's hugging. What does it feel like to hold yourself? To know I've got you. I'm here. And we're noticing the subtleties in the body. Sometimes it's, wait a minute, my mind settled. My hearing's clearer. I took a breath. This is a pleasurable sensation. The simplicity of these body-based tools can train your body. Hey, when that inspiration comes in that's filled with, ooh, it's safe. Because I've retrained my nervous system over time that receiving pleasure is normal to me. So we're going to do another one while I'm teaching a little bit. We're going to put one hand behind the back of the neck. There's a lot of these tools, but I'll just share some tonight. And one on the forehead. And we're just going to notice. And if this is uncomfortable, you can lean or switch arms. Immediately, my body took a deep breath. Just going to notice what this does to our body. One hand behind the neck, one hand on the forehead, supporting ourselves. Good. And if it's too uncomfortable, you can interlace the fingers or just lay them nicely behind the neck. That's another position of support. And notice what it feels like in the body. Good. Now we're going to do one more. Going to put the hand on the chest, hand on the belly. And it's really pleasurable to sway. This is another tool to calm the nervous system. And we're noticing what happens in the body when we sway. Now, it might feel good for you to sway more intensely. It might feel good for you to sway gently. For me, things are slowing down a little bit. Now, we don't want to just be in the exercise unconsciously. It's the noticing, it's the tuning in. What happens in my body when I sway? happens in my body when I do this ventral hug. Yeah. Because now as we're in that experiment, because you're all very aware of what inspires you and what brings you joy and desire. It's the opposite of everything in the chat. I am inspired to have boundaries and have my own space. I am inspired to have someone help me with the house and alone time. I am inspired to trust my own wisdom and only further education if I feel inspired to do so, but know that I'm enough without it. I'm inspired to be treated to beautiful food. I am inspired to leave when I feel my internal boundaries say leave. It's there. It's as if that inspiration is at a certain level of an elevator. It's like floor 10 in our nervous system, which is the part of us that keeps us safe when we're little, is at floor 2. And so there's this constant want to do this, go back into the should, never get to floor 10. So we slowly attune our body to pleasure. We slowly attune our body. And then as we do so, we look for proof in the world. And I'm going to ask you this, that might seem drastic, but are you okay right now? Was that exercise, that little bit of pleasure that we just allowed into the body, safe? Doing another one, you can soothe and hug the heart, right? Or the belly. Hand on the belly is nice too. Okay. I'm going to, in the last few minutes, do a little Reiki for us, just to send some healing to this area. Questions about how to practice this in your life, what you can do with this, an insight that you might have had. You don't have to, but I want to give you a minute for anything that's kind of coming up, so I don't leave you feeling hanging. Okay. So I'm going to have you keep practicing this desire-led experience. And we could talk about this. This is one small aspect of desire and pleasure and inspiration. We could talk about this for 5 hours tonight, but like, again, I can only give you so much in this time. Also, we don't want to overwhelm the brain. So what exercise did I give you that just felt the best? Hands behind the neck, forehead, neck, heart rub, ventral hug, or noticing something in your environment that's pleasing to you. It could be the temperature, the bird outside. Ventral hug, nice. You should do a couple, right? And then while we're doing some Reiki, just let your body get used to a gentle bit of desire and pleasure and good feelings here, goodness. Swaying, I forgot swaying or rocking. Medicine for the brain and the body. Calming this, even in and of itself, calming us down enough to hear our inspiration, to attune to that portal. Hand on belly, nice. Hand on head and stomach, good. I just got this image of, instead of handing you party favors to my birthday party, giving you body-based safe pleasure tools. What you get in your bag? Can you trade me ventral hug for hand on belly? Sure. I like to sway myself. All right, so just relax. I'm going to share some music with you. And I want you guys to tell me if you can hear the music and my voice at the same time, because I'm going to send a little bit of Reiki right now to our pleasure center, just to do any healing and releasing of energy that might be needed in that area. Give me 1 second with the music here. Okay. Hopefully you can hear the music and my voice. If you can't or something's funny, let me know in the chat. We're just going to ground in here for 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Just relax together. Finding something that feels nice and soothing. Oh, beautiful. Thanks, Jewel. And just taking a deep breath and settling into the present as best as you can. As I call upon the highest fifth dimensional Reiki frequencies of the universe to plug into the back of my hands, plugging into the back of my healing master's hands. To you, no time, no space, no distance. For all of us and our highest good and safe and easy ways as we relax and open to a completely new plane of existence for ourselves, one we may never have even experienced, but one that we're called to. We're here tonight because there's something in us that remembers that this could be a possibility for us. Even if those around us have never taught us we could live from inspiration and pleasure and desire, we have a sense of it, otherwise we wouldn't have shown up. So deep breath, noticing how your tool is making your body feel. The more you notice, the more the body relaxes and recalibrates. The neural networks of the old way, of the shoulds and the have tos, start to unwind. And I call upon this Reiki to send to our sacral chakras, which is the area of desire, of creation, of pleasure, of power, where we get that pleasure, that jolt, that warmth that says, live this way, do this, this is who you are. And if it's a little out of balance, then we might go back into it's not safe to be that way. And so we ask that this Reiki, no time, no space, clear any energetic blocks in that space in all of us that may be keeping us from seeing, following the answers of desire, of joy, of pleasure. And I ask that this Reiki gently and lovingly bring into our awareness this next week what our fears may be around living a deep life of desire, being led by it, understanding its importance, choosing that first over the shoulds, and seeing that life doesn't fall apart, it actually comes alive. You actually start to see yourself and who you are, and that when we live from that place, it's practical. It's a win-win for everyone around us. So letting this energy help us be more aware, and letting this energy assist us in letting go of that which no longer serves us here, as I invite you to just whisper out loud or in your mind, I release anyone else's influence or energy that may be in my sacral chakra. I choose to connect into my own sacral energy, balanced, bright. My sacral energy is between me and God, no one else. As this Reiki dusts away the debris, I want you just to take one more deep breath. Let it go. And if it feels comfortable to you, placing your hand 2 inches below the belly button in this area of desire and pleasure. As we repeat the Hawaiian prayer that has offered many healing miracles called Ho'oponopono, we say to our sacral space, our area of desire and pleasure, I love you. I'm sorry you haven't felt safe being the leader in my life. Thank you for tapping me on the shoulder and reminding me there's something valuable here. Please forgive me for believing others about what you are and are not allowed to do. I forgive you. I am here now and you are not alone. It makes sense how you feel. And I'm choosing to love you back home. To notice this week what I desire, what inspires me, what pleases me. To notice what may come up in the way and say to all of it, it's okay, that makes sense. And that when I feel safe taking one step forward, until one day I wake up and I say, oh wow, this is the way? Why didn't someone tell me this sooner? Thanking the Reiki, the energy healing, for the cleansing that we have received today as I disconnect the Reiki between you and I and those that are watching the recording. Your energy back to you, mine back to me, and any residual transmuted to love, and so it is. As we take a deep breath, slowing down, feeling softer. And I want you just to write in the chat or write in your journal, either's fine, one small shift or insight from this time together. One thing you learned that you're like, oh, that felt nice, or that did make my body feel better, or I saw something I didn't see, or I'm going to try this thing I'm inspired by. What was one thing you learned, saw, noticed, received? It could be tiny, tiny, tiny. Just write that down for yourself or share it in the chat. I'm going to give you one quiet moment with that. I love that. Yes, you're Reiki queen. My body would love going back to give myself Reiki more often. What an inspiration. And that's pleasure right there, right? Receiving. Yep, that is your nervous system calming down. Can see and hear a little clearer. We actually, when we're in fight or flight, certain senses mute because we're just in emergency mode. And so it's very common for people to report after things that feel good, that they can see and hear better. So I love that you shared that. Sense of safety and acceptance. Yeah. There's more of a quietness in my mind. And I want to bring this to your attention too. When we're doing this deep healing work over time, the brain's propensity is to focus on the tiniest little thing that didn't shift or the problem. And so we just keep saying to it, I love you and I know, and that makes sense. But I am going to continue to focus on the tiniest small things, which you guys are doing an incredible job, which is why I was bringing your attention to that, because that's how new neurons, new neural pathways are formed. That's how the nervous system calms down. If we keep looking, we go, yeah, but when I saw that plant, you see your body side, and let's focus on that there's hope, that there's safety, that there's love here too. We begin to open up to a completely new way of living. Good. Okay. Gorgeous. And you guys all typed in, I mean, I know we have different times in the world, but you typed in your insights and your takeaways and what you received at 555, which is change, which is pretty cool. So if this resonated with you tonight, if you were like, this is something I don't play with normally, I have lived in my shoulds and have tos, I actually got an inspired idea. I was in the tub and it was birthed of inspiration because this topic is so near and dear to my heart. And I would quickly was like, no, you're teaching too many different things. This is a different topic. And then I went, you know how God speaks to you. You know how divinity speaks, and it's through joy. And I hold it sacred. And so I created through that portal, through that feeling of inspiration, an 8-week course. It starts, I think, 11 days, May 1st, which actually I just found out today, the day that I created the course on is National Mental Health Awareness Day or something, which is pretty cool. But it's a once a week safe space, 90 minutes. So it's going to be longer than this. It's a group experiment. It's what happens when we together, because we know it's when we work in groups, our nervous systems co-regulate, we have a sense of safety and community. That what happens when we go together as a group of letting go and becoming even more aware of all of our shoulds, our have-tos, getting to know what they are, what's the root of it, and how can we, over time, actually see and prove to our brain, this is where my life purpose, my joy, my safety, my security, my financial abundance has lived all along. And I used to think that was crazy because I never felt safe. And the more I see, whoa, I literally am doing things that feel aligned for me, that feel joyful for me. And I've created a 6-figure a year salary career, and I work 4 days a week from this practice. So it's somebody who's living this life. Now, it's not always easy because all of the pain comes up, which is why I believe when you're wanting to move into a portal that they don't teach us about in schools, that this support and this container and this extended period of time to safely, slowly move through all of the pain and then move into the outside is important. So if this speaks to you because you showed up live and you stayed the whole time, I'm going to give you this code. Here's the link. This code is good for 2 more days. So if this calls to you and you want to save, capital LOVE gets you 10% off the course. This is the most affordable course I've ever run. Just to welcome people in all different price points. It's only $222 for the entire course, for the entire 8 weeks. It also comes with a Facebook community. Because so many of my one-on-one clients were reaching out to me and they were like, I want to meet more friends like me. I want to connect with people around the world with like-minded community. So we're going to have a Facebook group, a safe space for positive connection in there as well. I would love to have you. We start May 1st. If you have any questions, you can email me. It's jamie@jamiewosny.com. And I highly recommend that you click on this link right now, just so that you can save the page, you can check it out, you can see if it resonates with you. I know a lot of people are from all around the world, so it is going to be recorded. if you can't make it live, and my assistant is going to send the recordings out. We're going to have lots of practices, live coaching with me, Q&A, meditations, really just do that healing nervous system therapeutic work, like the elevator I was saying, where we bring you to the door to be able to open up to that place. So I think it's going to be a blast. We're going to play together. And I would love for you to have me. So that's there if you guys want that. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm going to send out the recording either tonight or tomorrow morning. And again, such a bummer. And sorry if you guys are listening that wanted to come live. It says 5 o'clock in my platform. And for some weird ass reason, when I just checked Zoom, it says noon tomorrow. So I don't know what that's all about, but we're glad that you could join the recording as well. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. I'm glad you got a little clearer from tonight, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Bye. Good to see you.